Algae are simple, plant-like organisms that live in water environments all around us. From tiny microscopic cells to large seaweed, algae come in many different forms and play crucial roles in aquatic ecosystems. There are many different types of algae, which scientists classify by their colors and characteristics. The main groups include red algae, brown algae, and green algae, each with unique properties and habitats. Just like plants on land, algae use photosynthesis to make their own food. They take in carbon dioxide from the water, use sunlight for energy, and produce oxygen and sugars. This process is fundamental to life in aquatic environments. At the microscopic level, algae can form beautiful, intricate structures. These tiny organisms may look simple, but they are incredibly important. Think of algae as the grass of the water. They form the foundation of aquatic food webs. Algae are essential for aquatic ecosystems because they provide food and oxygen for countless other organisms. Fish, marine mammals, and even humans depend on algae either directly or indirectly through the food web. While most algae are beneficial and essential for life, some types can cause problems when they grow too much or produce harmful substances. Understanding both the good and potentially harmful aspects of algae helps us appreciate their complex role in our world. Not all algae are created equal. While most algae are beneficial and harmless, some species have a dark side. They produce dangerous toxins that can harm people, animals, and the environment. When these toxic algae multiply rapidly and form large concentrations, we call them harmful algal blooms, or HABs for short. Think of them as the villains of the algae world. Here's what a harmful algal bloom looks like in real life. Notice the green, murky water filled with algae debris. This is a clear sign of a potentially dangerous bloom. Under a microscope, toxic algae have complex structures. Each cell can produce and release harmful toxins into the surrounding water, making the entire area dangerous. These toxic blooms are extremely dangerous to animals. Fish can die from exposure to the toxins, and pets like dogs can become seriously ill or even die if they swim in or drink contaminated water. Remember these key points about harmful algal blooms. They're toxic algae that grow rapidly, they produce dangerous toxins, and they pose serious threats to both human and animal health. Always avoid contact with suspicious-looking water. When toxic algae release their harmful substances into water, they can affect our bodies in several different ways. Understanding these health effects helps us recognize the dangers and take proper precautions. The most common effect is skin irritation. When you swim or wade in contaminated water, the toxins can cause red, itchy rashes on your skin. These rashes can appear anywhere the water touched your body. Toxic algae can also affect your breathing. When algae toxins become airborne in water droplets or sea spray, breathing them in can cause coughing, sore throat, and difficulty breathing. This is especially dangerous for people with asthma. If contaminated water is accidentally swallowed, it can cause serious stomach problems. This includes nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and severe stomach cramps. Even small amounts of contaminated water can make you very sick. Because of these serious health risks, authorities post warning signs when toxic algae are detected in water bodies. These signs are there to protect public health and should always be taken seriously. In the most severe cases, toxic algae exposure can cause neurological problems affecting the brain and nervous system. This can lead to dizziness, confusion, muscle weakness, and in extreme cases, can even be life-threatening. The key takeaway is that toxic algae can affect multiple body systems through different routes of exposure. Whether through skin contact, breathing, or accidental ingestion, these toxins pose real health risks that require our attention and caution. Understanding what causes toxic algae to grow is crucial for preventing harmful algal blooms. Think of it like a recipe. When certain ingredients come together in the right conditions, toxic algae can flourish with dangerous consequences. Let's break down the main ingredients in this harmful recipe. Each factor acts like an ingredient that, when combined, creates perfect conditions for toxic algae growth. The biggest factor is nutrient pollution, especially nitrogen and phosphorus. These nutrients come from fertilizers, sewage, and animal waste that wash into our waterways. Fertilizers from farms, lawn chemicals, and sewage treatment plants all contribute nitrogen and phosphorus to water bodies. These nutrients act like fertilizer for algae, causing explosive growth. This process is called eutrophication. When excess nutrients enter water, they fuel rapid algae growth, which can quickly get out of control and become toxic. Warm water temperatures are another key factor. Algae reproduce much faster in warm water, and climate change is making our waters warmer than ever before. Climate change acts as a multiplier for all these factors. It brings warmer temperatures, more intense storms that wash nutrients into water, and changes in rainfall patterns that create ideal conditions for toxic algae. The key takeaway is that toxic algae growth is driven by human activities. Reducing nutrient pollution, addressing climate change, and protecting our water sources are essential steps to prevent harmful algal blooms. Dinoflagellates are fascinating single-celled organisms that represent one of the most dramatic types of toxic algae. These microscopic marine creatures are responsible for some of nature's most spectacular and dangerous phenomena. Looking at this detailed diagram of a dinoflagellate cell, we can see their complex internal structure. These organisms have two distinctive whip-like flagella that help them move through water, and many contain specialized organelles that can produce toxins. When conditions are right, dinoflagellates can multiply rapidly, creating massive blooms that dramatically change the color of water bodies. This aerial view shows what happens during a dinoflagellate bloom, commonly called a red tide. These blooms can change the water color from blue to red, brown, or green, and can stretch for hundreds of miles along coastlines. The environmental impact of these blooms can be devastating, affecting marine life throughout the ecosystem. Red tides can cause massive fish kills, as shown in this news footage. The toxins produced by dinoflagellates can kill fish, marine mammals, and contaminate shellfish, making them dangerous for human consumption. Because shellfish filter water for food, they can accumulate high concentrations of dinoflagellate toxins, leading to serious health warnings. Warning signs like this one are posted when dinoflagellate toxins contaminate shellfish. These toxins can cause paralytic shellfish poisoning in humans, which can be life-threatening if consumed. Understanding dinoflagellates helps us appreciate why they're considered the rock stars of the toxic algae world. Their dramatic blooms create some of the most visible and dangerous algal events on Earth. Dinoflagellates represent one of nature's most powerful examples of how microscopic organisms can have massive environmental and economic impacts, earning their reputation as the dramatic performers of the toxic algae world. Diatoms are fascinating microscopic algae that live in both freshwater and marine environments. What makes them unique is their beautiful glass-like shells made of silica, the same material found in glass and sand. These intricate geometric patterns you see are actually their cell walls. Each species has its own unique pattern, like a microscopic fingerprint. Scientists can identify different diatom species just by looking at these beautiful designs. While most diatoms are harmless, some species like Pseudonychia can produce dangerous toxins. This particular species forms long chains and produces a neurotoxin called domoic acid. Domoic acid is particularly dangerous because it affects the brain. It can cause memory loss, confusion, seizures, and disorientation. This is why it's sometimes called the amnesia toxin. It literally makes victims forget things. Marine mammals like sea lions are often the first victims of domoic acid poisoning. In 2015, California's coast experienced a massive Pseudonychia bloom that affected thousands of marine animals, causing seizures, disorientation, and many deaths. Remember these key points about diatoms. They're beautiful microscopic algae with glass-like shells, but some species like Pseudonychia can be dangerous. Their domoic acid toxin affects brain function and can impact entire marine ecosystems when blooms occur. Cyanobacteria, also known as blue-green algae, are among the most ancient life forms on Earth. Despite their name, they're actually bacteria, not true algae, and they've been shaping our planet for billions of years. These remarkable organisms have a complex cellular structure. Unlike true algae, cyanobacteria lack a membrane-bound nucleus and organelles, but they contain specialized structures that make them incredibly efficient at photosynthesis. Cyanobacteria thrive in freshwater environments like lakes, ponds, rivers, and reservoirs. They prefer warm, nutrient-rich waters where they can form massive blooms that sometimes cover entire water surfaces. What makes cyanobacteria particularly dangerous is their ability to produce a wide variety of toxins. These toxins can target different parts of the human body, causing serious health problems. Cyanobacteria are like the chameleons of the algae world. They can dramatically change their toxin production based on environmental conditions like temperature, nutrients, light, and water chemistry. Understanding cyanobacteria is crucial for water safety. These ancient organisms continue to pose modern challenges, but recognizing their behavior helps us better protect our freshwater resources and public health. Primnesium parvum, commonly known as golden algae, is a particularly dangerous type of toxic algae that poses serious threats to aquatic ecosystems. This microscopic organism gets its name from its distinctive golden yellow color, which comes from special pigments called carotenoids that give it this characteristic appearance. What makes Primnesium parvum particularly dangerous is its ability to produce powerful toxins that are lethal to fish and other aquatic organisms. These toxins attack the gills of fish, making it impossible for them to breathe. The devastating effects of golden algae blooms can be seen in massive fish kills. When Primnesium parvum populations explode, they can wipe out entire fish populations in lakes, rivers, and coastal waters. Primnesium parvum is especially problematic in aquaculture settings like fish farms. In these controlled environments, the algae can quickly multiply and devastate entire stocks of farmed fish, causing millions of dollars in losses. Primnesium parvum is often called the silent killer of the algae world because it can be present in water without obvious visual signs, yet still produce deadly toxins. Unlike other algae that create visible blooms, golden algae can kill fish even at low concentrations. Understanding Primnesium parvum is crucial for protecting aquatic ecosystems and aquaculture operations. Its ability to cause devastating fish kills while remaining largely invisible makes it one of the most dangerous types of toxic algae we encounter. Pseudonychia is a particularly dangerous type of diatom that produces one of the most potent neurotoxins found in marine environments. This microscopic algae is responsible for a serious form of food poisoning that can affect both humans and marine life. Under a microscope, Pseudonychia appears as long, thin, golden yellow chains of cells. These diatoms have a distinctive segmented appearance, with dark rectangular sections along their length that help scientists identify them. These diatoms produce a powerful neurotoxin called domoic acid. This toxin is particularly dangerous because it can cross the blood-brain barrier and cause severe neurological damage in both humans and animals. The real danger comes from bioaccumulation. Shellfish like mussels, clams, and oysters filter large amounts of seawater for food, concentrating the domoic acid in their tissues. Fish that eat these contaminated shellfish also become toxic. When humans consume contaminated shellfish, they can develop amnesic shellfish poisoning, or ASP. This condition gets its name because one of the most serious symptoms is memory loss and confusion. The symptoms of amnesic shellfish poisoning start with gastrointestinal problems like vomiting and diarrhea, but can progress to serious neurological symptoms including confusion, memory loss, seizures, and in severe cases, coma. Marine mammals are also severely affected by domoic acid poisoning. Sea lions, dolphins, and whales that consume contaminated fish can experience seizures, disorientation, and death. Mass strandings of marine mammals are often linked to pseudonychia blooms. The key takeaway is that pseudonychia represents a serious threat to both human health and marine ecosystems. This is why monitoring programs track these algae blooms and why health advisories are issued when domoic acid levels become dangerous in shellfish harvesting areas. Not all algae are harmful. In fact, many types of algae are incredibly nutritious and have been used as food for thousands of years. These beneficial algae are packed with essential nutrients that can boost our health. Spirulina is one of the most popular edible algae. This blue-green algae is often sold as a powder or supplement. It contains complete proteins, meaning it has all essential amino acids your body needs, plus vitamins and minerals. Algae supplements come in many forms to make them easy to consume. You can find them as capsules, tablets, powders that mix into smoothies, or even as liquid extracts. Each form offers the same nutritional benefits in different convenient packages. You probably eat algae more often than you think, Seaweed, which is a type of marine algae, is commonly used in sushi as nori sheets. These dark green sheets wrap around sushi rolls and provide minerals like iodine that support thyroid function. Seaweed salads are another delicious way to enjoy algae nutrition. These colorful salads often contain wakame or other sea vegetables that provide omega-3 fatty acids, fiber, and unique compounds that may support heart health and reduce inflammation. The nutritional profile of edible algae is truly impressive. They contain high-quality proteins, essential vitamins like B12, which is rare in plant foods, important minerals, and healthy fats. Some studies suggest algae may help with weight management, cholesterol levels, and even support immune function. So remember, while we need to be cautious of toxic algae in our water sources, many types of algae are actually nutritional treasures. From spirulina supplements to seaweed snacks, these ancient organisms offer modern solutions for healthy eating and sustainable nutrition. Algae aren't just tiny organisms floating in water. They're actually incredible energy factories that could help solve our fuel problems. These microscopic powerhouses can be transformed into clean, renewable biofuel. What exactly is biofuel? It's fuel made from living organisms instead of fossil fuels like oil and gas. Unlike fossil fuels that take millions of years to form, biofuel can be produced quickly and sustainably from renewable sources. Now, let's look at algae up close. These microscopic organisms are incredibly efficient at capturing sunlight and converting it into energy through photosynthesis. Each algae cell is like a tiny solar panel that produces oil. The process of turning algae into fuel involves several steps. First, algae are grown in large ponds or tanks. Then they're harvested and processed to extract the oils. Finally, these oils are refined into different types of fuel like gasoline, diesel, and even jet fuel. Algae can be converted into multiple types of fuel: jet fuel for airplanes, gasoline for cars, and diesel for trucks and ships. This versatility makes algae biofuel incredibly valuable for replacing fossil fuels across different transportation sectors. Why is algae biofuel so promising? Algae grow incredibly fast, can be cultivated on land unsuitable for food crops, and actually absorb carbon dioxide as they grow. This makes them carbon neutral or even carbon negative, helping fight climate change. Research into algae biofuel is advancing rapidly. Scientists are developing new algae strains that produce more oil, improving cultivation methods, and making the production process more cost-effective. This technology could revolutionize how we power our world. Wastewater treatment is essential for protecting our environment and public health. But did you know that algae can be nature's own cleanup crew, helping to purify contaminated water? Algae are remarkable organisms that can absorb nutrients and pollutants from water. They act like tiny biological filters, consuming harmful substances and converting them into harmless biomass. In wastewater treatment facilities, scientists carefully cultivate specific types of algae in controlled environments. These algae are selected for their ability to remove particular pollutants like nitrogen, phosphorus, and heavy metals. Algae-based wastewater treatment offers many advantages. It's environmentally friendly, cost-effective, and the harvested algae biomass can be used for biofuels, fertilizers, or other valuable products. Algae wastewater treatment represents a sustainable approach to water purification. By harnessing nature's own cleaning mechanisms, we can protect our water resources while creating valuable byproducts from what was once considered waste. Algae are nature's tiny carbon capture machines. These microscopic organisms can absorb carbon dioxide directly from the atmosphere, making them powerful allies in fighting climate change. Through photosynthesis, algae absorb carbon dioxide and water, then use sunlight energy to convert them into oxygen and organic compounds. This process naturally removes CO2 from the air. Here we can see algae cells under a microscope. Each of these green structures is actively capturing carbon dioxide from the surrounding environment, converting it into useful organic matter. Algae are incredibly efficient at carbon capture. Some species can absorb up to 50 times more CO2 per acre than trees. They grow rapidly and can be cultivated in various environments. Scientists and companies are developing algae-based carbon capture systems. These include algae bioreactors, algae farms, and even algae-powered air purification systems for buildings and vehicles. Algae carbon capture offers multiple benefits. It removes greenhouse gases, produces useful biomass, requires minimal land use, and can operate in various environments. This makes algae a promising technology for climate change mitigation. Algae are incredibly versatile organisms that have found their way into many industries beyond just being aquatic plants. Today, we'll explore how algae benefit both the cosmetics industry and agriculture. In the cosmetics industry, algae are prized for their remarkable skin benefits. They contain natural moisturizing compounds that help keep skin hydrated and healthy. Algae are packed with antioxidants that protect skin from environmental damage and aging. They also contain vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that nourish and repair skin cells. You can find algae extracts in face creams, anti-aging serums, sunscreens, and even hair care products. The natural compounds in algae make them perfect for gentle, effective skincare. In agriculture, algae serve as powerful natural fertilizers and soil enhancers. Certain types of algae, especially cyanobacteria, can fix nitrogen from the air and convert it into forms that plants can use. Algae improve soil health by adding organic matter and essential nutrients. They help increase crop yields while reducing the need for synthetic fertilizers, making farming more sustainable and environmentally friendly. Farmers use algae as biofertilizers for various crops, especially in rice paddies where they naturally thrive. In aquaculture, algae serve as nutritious feed for fish and other aquatic animals. Algae truly are nature's versatile players, providing valuable benefits across multiple industries. Their natural compounds make them ideal for both beauty and agricultural applications. From moisturizing your skin to feeding crops and fish, algae demonstrate how nature provides sustainable solutions for human needs. As we continue to seek environmentally friendly alternatives, algae will play an increasingly important role in these industries. Toxic algae pose serious health risks to humans through multiple exposure pathways. Understanding these risks helps us protect ourselves and our families from harmful effects. The most common health effect from toxic algae is skin irritation. Direct contact with contaminated water can cause rashes, redness, and painful blistering on exposed skin areas. Breathing in water droplets or mist containing algal toxins can cause serious respiratory problems. This is especially dangerous for people with asthma or other breathing conditions. Some algal toxins can affect the nervous system, causing neurological symptoms that range from mild to severe. These effects can be particularly dangerous and require immediate medical attention. There are three main ways people can be exposed to toxic algae: through direct skin contact with contaminated water, by accidentally swallowing contaminated water, or by breathing in water droplets containing toxins. Public health authorities post warning signs when toxic algae are detected in water bodies. These signs are your first line of defense. Always heed these warnings and avoid any contact with the water. Think of toxic algae as giving you a harmful hug. You want to avoid that contact completely. When in doubt, stay out of any water that looks discolored, smells bad, or has visible algae growth. Animals and pets are particularly vulnerable to toxic algae poisoning. Unlike humans, they can't recognize the danger signs and often drink directly from contaminated water sources. Here's a real example of what toxic algae contamination looks like. This thick green layer covering the water surface contains dangerous toxins that can poison any animal that drinks from it. Animals are especially vulnerable because they drink larger amounts of water relative to their body size, and they can't understand warning signs that humans might recognize. This informational graphic shows exactly what pet owners need to watch for. Dogs and other pets can be poisoned by drinking from or swimming in contaminated water. Symptoms of algae poisoning in animals include vomiting, diarrhea, difficulty breathing, seizures, and in severe cases, death. These symptoms can appear within minutes to hours of exposure. Prevention is key to protecting our animal companions. Keep pets on leashes near water, provide fresh drinking water, and never let them swim in or drink from water that looks suspicious. Remember, animals are innocent bystanders in toxic algae contamination. They depend on us to keep them safe. When in doubt, keep pets away from any water that looks discolored, smells bad, or has visible algae growth. Toxic algae blooms are environmental disasters that can devastate entire aquatic ecosystems. When these harmful blooms occur, they act like bullies in the underwater world, disrupting the delicate balance that keeps aquatic life healthy. The environmental damage begins with a process called eutrophication. Excess nutrients from fertilizers, urban runoff, and animal waste flow into water bodies, feeding massive algae growth that overwhelms natural ecosystems. One of the most devastating effects is oxygen depletion. When massive amounts of algae die and decompose, bacteria consume oxygen from the water, creating dead zones where fish and other aquatic life cannot survive. The result is often massive fish kills. When toxic algae blooms occur, fish and other aquatic animals die from toxin exposure, oxygen starvation, or both. These dramatic die-offs can eliminate entire populations of marine life. The environmental damage extends far beyond individual fish deaths. Algae blooms disrupt entire food chains, destroy critical habitats like coral reefs and seagrass beds, and can take years or even decades for ecosystems to recover. The key takeaway is that toxic algae blooms create a domino effect of environmental destruction. They transform healthy aquatic ecosystems into lifeless dead zones, making it crucial that we prevent these blooms through better nutrient management and environmental protection. Harmful algal blooms don't just threaten our health and environment, they're also economic saboteurs that can devastate entire industries and communities. The tourism industry takes a massive hit when algal blooms strike. Beach closures, foul odors, and health warnings keep visitors away, causing hotels, restaurants, and recreational businesses to lose millions in revenue. The fishing industry suffers even more severe consequences. When algae produce toxins, entire fishing areas must be closed. Contaminated seafood becomes unsellable, and fishermen lose their livelihoods overnight. The numbers are staggering. In the United States alone, harmful algal blooms cause between $2 and $4 billion in economic losses every year. A single bloom on the West Coast in 2015 resulted in nearly $100 million in lost crab fishing revenue. Beyond the big industries, local communities bear the brunt of these economic impacts. Small businesses close, workers lose jobs, and property values can plummet near affected water bodies. The ripple effects spread far beyond the initial bloom. Understanding these economic impacts helps us realize that preventing harmful algal blooms isn't just about environmental protection. It's about protecting jobs, businesses, and entire communities that depend on clean water for their survival. When toxic algae invade our water sources, they create a serious contamination problem that threatens our drinking water supply. Toxic algae contaminate our drinking water sources in several ways. They grow in lakes, rivers, and reservoirs that supply water to our communities, releasing harmful toxins directly into the water we depend on. When people consume water contaminated with algal toxins, they face serious health risks, including nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, liver damage, and in severe cases, neurological problems that can be life-threatening. This is why proper water treatment is absolutely crucial. Water treatment plants use multiple processes, including filtration, chemical treatment, and disinfection to remove algal toxins and make water safe for drinking. Think of toxic algae as unwanted guests in our water supply. They show up uninvited, make a mess, and can cause serious problems for everyone. The key takeaway is that water contamination by toxic algae is a serious public health issue that requires constant monitoring and proper treatment to keep our drinking water safe. Monitoring water sources for toxic algae is like having a security system for our water supply. Early detection is the key to preventing harm to people, animals, and the environment. The first step in monitoring is learning to identify what we're looking for. This comparison chart shows the difference between harmful and non-harmful algae. Harmful algae often appear as thick, scummy mats or discolored water, while normal algae typically look like green strings or natural plant growth. Water monitoring uses multiple methods working together. Visual inspection by trained observers can spot obvious problems quickly. Laboratory testing provides detailed analysis of water samples. Satellite monitoring tracks large-scale changes from space, and sensor networks provide real-time data on water conditions. Here's what monitoring detected: a thick algae bloom covering this water body. The monitoring process follows clear steps. First, visual detection of the unusual growth, then sample collection for testing, laboratory analysis to confirm toxicity, and finally, public warnings to keep people and pets safe. Early warning systems follow a simple but effective process. Continuous monitoring detects problems early. Quick detection leads to immediate warnings. Public warnings help people avoid contaminated water. This protection prevents illness, saves lives, and reduces economic damage to communities. Remember these key points about monitoring water sources. First, learn to recognize what harmful algae looks like so you can spot problems early. Second, regular monitoring by professionals enables early detection before blooms become dangerous. Finally, early warning systems protect public health by giving people time to avoid contaminated water. Health advisories are like warning signs that help protect us from contaminated water. Local authorities issue these important notices to keep communities safe from harmful algae and other water quality problems. Health advisories are official notices issued by local health departments, environmental agencies, and other authorities. These documents provide crucial information about water safety conditions and help protect public health. There are several types of water health advisories you might encounter. Let's look at some real examples to understand what they look like and what they mean. Swimming advisories warn when bacteria or algae levels make water unsafe for recreation. These signs are posted at beaches, lakes, and rivers when testing shows contamination levels that could make people sick. Boil water notices are issued when drinking water may be contaminated. These advisories tell residents to boil their water for several minutes before drinking, cooking, or brushing teeth to kill harmful bacteria and toxins. Beach closures completely prohibit water contact when conditions are dangerous. Safety sign guides help people understand different warning symbols and what actions to take for their protection. You can find health advisories through multiple sources. Check government websites, local news outlets, and look for posted signs at water locations. Always check for current advisories before visiting any lake, river, or beach for swimming or other water activities. Remember these key points about health advisories. Always check for current advisories before water activities. Follow all posted warnings and restrictions completely. When in doubt about water safety, stay out. Share advisory information with others to keep your community safe. Health advisories are your first line of defense against waterborne illness. When you encounter water that might be contaminated with toxic algae, the most important rule is simple: avoid all contact. Here's what contaminated water typically looks like. Learn to recognize the warning signs of contaminated water. Look for green, blue, or red scums floating on the surface, thick mats of algae, foul smells, discolored water, or dead fish in the area. Now let's look at the specific activities you should avoid when water may be contaminated. Avoid swimming in contaminated water, as direct skin contact can cause irritation and illness. Don't go boating, as splashing water can get on your skin or be accidentally ingested. Don't fish in contaminated waters, as the fish may contain toxins. Never drink or use contaminated water for cooking, as ingesting algae toxins can cause serious illness. Instead of risking exposure, choose safe alternatives for recreation and water use. Use treated swimming pools instead of natural water bodies. Choose different lakes or rivers that are known to be safe. Wait for official health advisories to give the all clear before returning to affected waters. Always use bottled or properly treated water for drinking and cooking. Remember to keep your pets away from contaminated water too, as they are also vulnerable to algae toxins. The key principle to remember is it's always better to be safe than sorry when dealing with potentially contaminated water. When in doubt, stay out. Algae toxins can cause serious health problems, and no recreational activity is worth risking your health or your family's safety. Remember, avoiding contact with contaminated water is your first and best defense against algae poisoning. Stay informed, stay alert, and stay safe. When someone is poisoned by toxic algae, treatment focuses on supportive care. This means helping the body's natural healing processes while managing symptoms until the toxins are eliminated. The first line of treatment is intravenous fluids. When someone has algal poisoning, they often experience vomiting and diarrhea, which leads to dehydration. IV fluids help replace lost water, maintain blood pressure, and assist the kidneys in flushing toxins from the body. Doctors also treat specific symptoms. Antiemetic medications help control nausea and vomiting. If breathing becomes difficult, oxygen support may be provided. Pain medications can help with muscle aches and discomfort caused by the toxins. In severe cases of algal poisoning, especially with neurotoxins, patients may need respiratory support. This can include mechanical ventilation if breathing becomes severely impaired. Emergency procedures like CPR may be necessary, and patients require intensive monitoring in hospital settings. Unfortunately, most algal toxins have no specific antidotes. However, some treatments can help with certain toxins. Atropine may be used for some neurotoxins, and activated charcoal can help if given very early after exposure. Researchers are working on developing new treatments, but supportive care remains the primary approach. Treatment for algal poisoning is like providing first aid to help the body recover. Medical professionals keep the person stable, support vital functions like breathing and circulation, and monitor for complications while the body naturally eliminates the toxins. The key takeaway is that early medical care significantly improves outcomes, so immediate help should be sought if algal poisoning is suspected.